where we air new episodes every other week. Kaiseki covers currently airing anime, older series and recently, and other relevant topics for the season. I'm your host, Marina, of the blog Anime B&B, and with me is my co-host, Draggle, of the cleverly titled Draggle's Anime Blog.
This week, we discuss a solid bowl of Eccentrics, Astro Note, and Train to the End of the World. So our theme this time is Weirdos.
Yes.
There's a lot of weirdos in these three shows. Should we start with solid bowl of Eccentrics?
I'd say this is like the most apparent one with the title name, right?
Yeah, the polite way of saying weirdos.
Is it polite? I don't even think eccentric is any worse or better.
I think it's polite, yeah. Well, more than weirdos.
I just want to put out there that I remember when I first saw this title, and I just thought it was like really odd. Just because like a salad bowl, I didn't really get what the connection was there. And I still didn't really fully get it with the first episode. It wasn't until later that I was like, oh, it's kind of like when we talk about America, how we're just like a melting pot.
Yeah, I still think it's a stretch.
Yeah, I think it's a stretch, but it kind of makes sense because you like toss a bunch of like shit together. Right?
Yeah, and that is how the show feels. There's a bunch of eccentrics and they're tossed together in weird situations. Yeah. Actually, did you know that the writer of this story, this show made a lot more sense to me once I heard this. The writer is actually the author of both Haganai and A Sister's All You Need, if you watch this.
Haganai, yes. It's been a while, so the details are fuzzy. I bet if you like reminded me about it, I would remember it. And then I think the other one I dropped.
It's the one with the mad scientist girl who like screamed universe. And now you
yeah, this is sounding more familiar.
Yeah, and there's the two love rivals, the one with the black hair and who's like smart and an asshole, and the one with the blonde hair who's a dumbass. And
we kind of have that here, the two main female characters, even though there's like a huge cast, right?
Who even are the two main female? Is it the little girl and the knight?
That's right.
Yeah, but it's quite different because neither of them are really love anything.
No, not at all. I mean, you do have like
Thank
passing
God.
Interests and creepy stalkers and like definitely sexual harassment going on. Like the one, like they don't even notice what's happening. But yeah. Anyway, so we're actually like all the other shows that we're going to be talking about today. This is only going to be 12 episodes, so we're almost done because we're actually at like the penultimate week. One more week, and all of these are going to be done airing. So honestly, yeah. I have no idea where we're going to end with this show because I just caught up on a salad bowl of Eccentrics and it doesn't feel like it's going to end.
Oh, it's definitely not going to end. I think neither Haganai or Sisters All You Need had any sort of ending either.
Does that bother you?
No, not at all. I mean, This isn't the type of show that's about the plot.
If it was about the plot, I would riot because we're all over the place here.
It's more just seeing what weird, funny antics they get up to.
Yeah. I don't even know how to describe the show. Like, basically, with what we did with the start of the season, it's just like this reverse isekai, right? And then they get separated and land in the laps of very different people, get involved in very different plot lines, right? If you can even call it a plot. And that's it. It's basically been like that the whole time. They're doing their own things. They come together occasionally, and then they go off and do stuff again. Yeah. And I don't really know what the plot is here.
And there's a lot of different characters, and it like even the main two are just kind of one among many. Yeah.
So I don't blame you for being like, who is the main character? Because honestly, it feels like the private investigator, who is Sosuke, he feels more main sometimes than Livia does.
Yeah. He definitely like is the one maybe who has a connection to all the other characters. Him and the blonde little girl.
Sarah.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's more like a bunch of short stories with shared characters is how it feels.
And I think that's probably part of why of all three works, and I'm sure you probably feel differently, that this is the one that I am the least interested in, even though that's not a negative because I do still like this show. It wasn't painful at all to catch up on it. It's just like, because it's so all over the place, I had a hard time like, I need to catch up, right? There's like something I needed to know from the previous episode. I had none of that.
Yeah, it's definitely not like you have to watch the next episode kind of show.
Yeah.
I quite like this one, though. I think it's my second favorite of the three we're on today.
Okay.
So who's your favorite character?
It's a little bit of a disaster, but Livia, because she's just so helpless, pathetic. Like, she's supposed to be like this noble knight, right? She's supposed to be the one who's the bodyguard of the princess, even though obviously she is not needed in that capacity in our world, and perpetually homeless. And when she's not homeless, she's caught up in some like really, really sketchy thing, right? Because she just doesn't know how to say no to the dude, Takeo, who's always like offering her work, right? Bad work. And she's like, okay. And even when she's suspicious, she still ends up being like, okay, and doing it. And then finding out later that it wasn't such a great thing, right? And then now she's with a cult leader, even though she has quote unquote sort of redeemed them. But like, I don't really see that as redemption because she doesn't even realize that this cult leader is obsessed with her and is like groping her constantly. Come on.
Yeah. The episode with her showing the doll to the
oh my
other
God.
two.
They're like, why is this so accurate? Why is this hair just like yours? Why is there hair down there that is just like yours?
And it's funny how the little girl is like so much more smart about these things than she is.
Yeah. Yeah, because Livia looks like she's older, right? She's supposed to be the bodyguard. She's supposed to be like the more mature one, questionably. But she's the one who makes like all the bad decisions.
I thought she is older.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. She's supposed to be, but she certainly doesn't act like it.
No, definitely not.
Like the whole gambling thing. I can't believe she got into pachinko. Like, don't do pachinko. And then she got into horse gambling. And then she doesn't even do a good job with that. The girl, Sarah, actually is a good horse gambler, even though you shouldn't, you know?
Yeah. So as people can tell, the whole show is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, but it's like well, you know, you pass a car crash and you can't help but fucking stare, right? Because it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's very, and I mean, it's, you say a car crash, but it's
not like painful and like death or anything
enjoyable
like that. It's
to
just
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that strange phenomenon where you just like, it's catastrophe and you just can't help but stare.
So my favorite character, Lydia, is my second favorite. Although it's a close toss-up for second between her and the cult leader.
I knew it. Wait, is the cult leader your favorite?
No. My favorite is the lawyer.
The lawyer is so sad, right? She just wants the guy to like her, but she doesn't know how to sell herself.
Yeah. My favorite, probably my favorite segment was the Valentine's chocolate making.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I've always wondered about this for like ever since I started watching anime, because they always have the Valentine's Day chocolate making episode.
Yes.
And somehow like they fail at cooking chocolate when all they're doing to cook is they buy some chocolate at the store and they melt it and they like maybe add some sugar and put it in a mold.
Yes, that's like the simplest way to do it, right?
Yeah, but like how's that even making chocolate, and how do you like even fail at this? I never understood.
Have you tried doing it yourself? I mean, I guess that episode helped you understand.
Yeah, I've done it myself. No,
okay.
But this episode, they like actually bought the chocolate beans and they actually made chocolate. Usually in anime, they don't do this. They just melt the chocolate from the store and shape it.
Yeah, but that's like a lot more approachable for people who are new to it, right? Like,
yeah,
it's the idea of it being quote unquote homemade, but not really homemade, you know? It's like a sort of cheating step.
Yeah. But they still fail and like set things on fire when they're just melting and remolding the chocolate.
Yes, it's supposed to be a charm point, Drago.
To me, it's not a charm point. It's complete
just
failure.
Pathetic.
Yeah, pathetic. But I can sympathize with the failure in this episode for sure.
Yeah. You're like, oh, this one is warranted.
Yes, exactly.
I agree. Yeah, I've made chocolates before. I remember I became interested because of anime when I was back in college. Yeah, it was in college, okay, when I was new to anime. And I had a friend who he invited me to come learn how to make chocolate with him because he always did it for Valentine's Day. And it was a lot harder than I expected, but we did not fail because he was a good cook and a good teacher. So we had nicely molded chocolates that were made like actually from hand.
And even if you had failed, you probably wouldn't have burned your house down.
Well, I guess I should correct myself. It wasn't like it was made from like the beans themselves. It was from like the chips, if you know what I'm talking about. But you still have to like add things to it, right? To make it smooth and to make it. Yeah, that's what we did.
Okay.
But we did not burn the house down. We were good.
I think you did the more advanced version than most anime characters.
Yes. All right. Did you have any final notes about A Salad Bowl of Eccentrics?
Looking forward to the end.
Yeah, me too. The next one we have on our list is Astro Note, which is also a 12-episode TV series that is about to end in the following week. It's an anime original, so we don't have any material to fall back on.
There's only one more episode?
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, it doesn't feel like that to you? Are you caught up?
I think there might have, was there an episode that came out today?
There was one that was very recent that, I think really propelled them towards what could feel like an ending.
Okay, I definitely didn't watch that one.
Okay. What's the last thing you remember?
The last thing I remember is something involving the shy girl.
Ah, like the revelation where he realizes who she is, or because he does.
I think that happened in the last episode I watched. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to spoil the penultimate episode because there is a pretty big aha moment.
Okay.
So it does have me excited for the ending. And I was actually slow on this show. Mm-hmm. I was originally more interested in A Salad Bowl of Eccentrics, but the more that I watched Astro Note, the more that it became a greater priority in my watching than the other. And I think it's because I had that sort of misconception at the start that this was going to be some sort of ecchi kind of romance because it's the landlady and the cook who's they live together. And I don't know, I just had that vibe. But that isn't really what happened. And then the characters became wackier and wackier. And the whole alien aspect to it made the show a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. There was a bit of a romance, but it definitely wasn't ecchi.
No. Well, how did you feel about this show from the start? Did you know you would like it immediately?
Yeah, I knew I would like it right away. Mainly because I really like the art style. It kind of...
Oh, yeah.
It kind of feels like how you imagine an older show to be, even though I don't think the older shows actually look like this. If that makes sense.
No, this looks a lot nicer.
Yeah.
But there is a little bit of a retro quality, I suppose, to the art style and just the storytelling, the setting.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the reason you thought it would be an ecchi thing is because it's basically the setup to Love Hina and all those types of shows.
Right.
So just minus the tripping down the stairs and walking in on the shower kind of things.
Yeah.
Instead we have the walking in on the alien spaceship.
That's the funny thing, or the misunderstanding about being a widow, right? What does that mean to be a widow?
Yeah, this show has a lot of stupid jokes. I also really love where the dog thinks the boy is onto him being an alien.
But the boy is onto him being something.
Yeah, but the boy thinks he's a cat.
Does he? I think the boy just thinks that there's something that's not doggish about this dog.
He told I think it was the shy girl that the dog is secretly a cat.
Okay. I remember something like that, but I didn't think that was the whole story. I thought he was just saying that because, his own theory wasn't solidified.
No, I think he thinks the dog's a cat.
Regardless, there's a lot of interesting characters here, just like in Salad Bowl of Eccentrics. Every single person is really weird.
Yeah, that's also what got me into it on the first episode. You have the older guy, the unemployed guy, the kid, all the types of characters you don't normally see at all in anime.
And it works here because they kind of make this sort of functional family of dysfunctional people,
Yeah.
And I guess it's not fair to say dysfunctional. They seem that way, right? But then you sort of see how they fill their time, what kind of fulfillment they get from it, right? And yeah, sure, I would say maybe a couple of them are a little bit more lost than the others. I would point at the layabout dad, right? The unemployed dad, who seems completely sketchy. And then the girl, the homeless girl who used to know the chef, Aoi, who I think you like quite a bit, right?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely rooting for her over the alien girl, although I know it's a doomed ship.
It's not meant to be, Draggle.
I know, but it's not stopping my shipping.
Yeah, I don't know if she ever got a job or if she's just hanging out here because they offered her a place to stay, right?
Doesn't seem like she got a job because she didn't leave her room for...
Yeah. Well, she does in a sneaky way with her hidden entrance, right?
Right.
Which I thought that was fantastic, by the way, that the previous landlord had built that just for her.
Yeah, it's very funny. I also like the alien boyfriend who's not a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. her fiance, right? / childhood friend, whatever he is.
Exactly.
His name is ridiculous. Showing ginger? Like, why? So something that you had pointed out before that I thought was interesting is that you said this had sort of a lower rating on Analyst, right? What was it again?
I was looking this up just before you when we were talking about something else, and the score is 6.37 out of 10, which is like extremely low for Analyst.
Like if it's a 1 through 10 scale, right? When I rate something a 6, it means that it's above average, but just, like it's
That's
okay.
not what it means on my anime list.
Oh, what does it mean on my anime list?
Well, let's see.
Now, is this the rating on my anime list, or is this the rating on Annie list? Just curious.
This is rating on my anime list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the not as good quality users or whatever. But just to compare to other shows this season, Viral Hit. Remember Viral Hit?
Yes.
That's a 6.98.
You're No. That's bullshit, Triangle. No way.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's explain this. Why do we think it's rated this low?
I have no idea.
Which, again, I disagree, because to me, like, 5 is the middle, right? If something is 5, that means it is, like, the middle grade, like, the average.
Let's see. The lowest rated show from this season that is not a good show is High Speed Etoile.
Oh, gosh, I remember that, too.
Guess what that rating is?
That's the lowest rated, you said?
Yeah, lowest rated this season.
Like a 4?
4.83.
Okay. Interesting. Then what's the point of having a full 1 through 10 scale? Like, why don't people give things 1s, right? Like, use the whole spectrum.
I think it's because people think of it as like a grade in school.
Uh-huh. I don't.
Yeah.
I guess I'm in the minority.
Yeah.
Okay, well, going back to this, then, if we're talking about this being a representative of, like, how other people do it, then they're looking down on this, right? And the question is why? Where do you think they're, like, scoring this low?
I honestly have no idea. I was shocked by this.
I think it's partially to do with, like, my first reaction. I think a lot of people will, like, drop something, but they'll rate it when they drop it, when they really shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's part of it, at least. But I don't know. I thought it was good from the first episode, so.
Yeah, we sort of had, like, different takes on it at the start, right? Because I had my misconceptions from previous, like, history, right? And like you said, this, like, reminded me of some of those older ecchi shows.
Right. But you're probably in the minority there, too, because, like, a lot of people like those kind of older ecchi shows.
When they were younger, maybe. I don't know. Do you think they still feel that way now that they're our age now?
Well, I mean, I
feel like my taste significantly changed.
There's people of all ages on my anime list, I guess. So, who knows?
I don't know.
People have bad taste, but we already knew that.
Well, we disagree with that rating, right?
Oh, of course.
Like, what would you rate it out of 10?
I rate it like 8 or 9.
Wow, that's really high.
I think it's really good.
I'd give it more of a 7, which for me means good.
Okay, so to give you some more context, Attack on Titan, the final season, guess what that rating is?
Probably like a 9 something.
Yeah, 8.78.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not at all surprised. It's just how things are.
Yeah.
Well, I do hope that people will give this more of a chance. If they had sort of the same feeling I did at the first episode, watch a couple of more episodes and maybe your opinion will change like mine did.
So on Annie list, 62%.
Yeah, I had looked that up earlier too and saw that it was about the same.
So interesting.
All right, so that brings us to our last show of the trio today, which is Train to the End of the World.
Yeah, it has a cool name for sure.
It has a really cool name, but again, my opinions of this show sort of, well, not opinion, my conception, right, my conception of this show at the start was different than what happened after I actually watched one episode. Because I think when I saw this title and I saw the premise, I thought we'd have something maybe a little bit more like Girls Last Tour. We had brought this up before,
exactly
right?
what I thought.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if this was going to go the more serious route of Girls Last Tour or if it was going to be like funny. And it did end up going more into the funny route, but in a way that I could never have expected.
How so?
It's just way wackier. I didn't think we were going to go this weird. Like, I figured funny, right? But like when I saw the animals in the first episode, I was like, oh, well, that's not expected. And then that like feeling happened over and over and over again. And I was like, okay, I give up. I have no idea what to expect anymore.
Yeah, it's really weird and bizarre, which is like its strongest point, but also I feel kind of holds it back a bit, just because it's not very consistent, right?
I disagree with you on this because I think I see this more positively than you do, the style that it's shown to us as.
Probably.
Because I adore the structure. I love the way that it's told. I love how the episodes are episodic, how the stories are mostly self-contained unless they're like in the same town for a couple of episodes, which sometimes happens. And so like that's totally up my alley. But it sounds like that's like not the exact feeling that you have when you watch this.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed by this one. I still like it, but it kind of the one it reminds me of is Flip Floppers. Do you remember that?
I do. I never really got into Flip Flappers, which is interesting that you point that out because you're saying that's the feeling you got.
Yeah, because I also never really got into Flip Floppers. A lot of people like love Flip Floppers.
Adore it. Yeah.
Yeah, but for me it was just so random. It was a bit disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel similar to this one. Like it looks really cool. A lot of I really love like some of how bizarre it is. Like I love the guy who they talk in Morse code super fast to for like 2 minutes a day.
5 minutes. Let's not like lessen it than it already is. 5 minutes, even though like all we ever see is maybe like a minute on the screen, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I don't know. It just hasn't come together for me. Like I'm not too excited about the next episode because I just.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I feel like it could benefit from just chilling a bit. Because it always feels like we're in a rush, right? Like all the characters like say exactly what they're thinking, and they say it kind of quickly too. Like all of them.
It's just funny because I feel like we're on the opposite stances than we usually are. Like I usually like things kind of slow. And like more paced, but I like am thriving off of the energy here and I don't want it to slow down. I like the pace that we're going at. And I think the dialogue is like really catchy and it's always pushing me forward. So
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't even think they need to slow it down. I think they just need to vary the pacing
more than they
on
are
the screen. Yeah. Also, like, I don't know. I don't think the characters are too strong.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like, probably my favorite is the girl who knows all the conspiracy theories.
Are you talking about the girl who likes to read a lot?
Yes.
That's Akira.
Akira.
The one who ends up with the mushroom in her bum, right?
Exactly. Yes. That was a good episode, by the way. But
she's like the only one who like is suspicious. Yeah, go ahead. Her character is the one that resonates the most with you, but the others are kind of not as much.
No, it's really all of them. Like,
okay,
they have a personality, but I feel like there's not much depth to them.
Yeah, I suppose we got a little bit of backstory of each of them. We had like the whole friendship between Akira and Raimi, right? Which is the bookaholic and the Galgate girl.
Right.
We saw like their friendship before, and then they're like fighting that they had, and then they're kind of like coming back together, which saves Akira from becoming the mushroom head person, right? And then we have our main character who we know has like this unresolved disagreement with Yoka, which is why she's like going to go see her, rescue her or something.
Right.
And then I thought we got a little bit of backstory on Nadeshiko as well, but now I'm like, while I think about it, I can't really remember what we've learned about her. Yeah. Other than she's like into archery. She's sort of like the motherly figure, right? But like, what is her shtick?
Yeah. I honestly struggle like to tell them apart sometimes, except for like they each have some weird quirk
thing about them.
Yeah. But then like in terms of like mannerisms and like their personality, they don't leave too strong an impression.
Okay. Yeah, I can see why you would think that. And I agree with you for the most part.
And I do like how bizarre it is, but I don't know, it feels like sometimes it's just bizarre for the sake of being bizarre.
Yeah, I get the sense that the makers of this are having a lot of fun creating this, right? Like you see like the wacky stuff they come up with in every town they go to. And a lot of the towns they don't even stop at. They like run through like the itchy zone. Like what was up with the itchy zone? They just have to like shove forward through that area to like survive. And we see them do this multiple times. But yeah, it does feel like we're constantly on the move. And I wonder if this would have benefited more from like a 2-cour show where they could have like slowed down a bit to go into like their personalities more, like you mentioned, right? Or maybe spend more than one episode in a specific town, even though they do that already, right? Sometimes we get 2 episodes.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I really do enjoy the show. I just think like the concept and the art style is so good that I was a bit disappointed that
we're like rushing through it.
Other parts didn't quite live up to that.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, we're going to end in one episode, and I believe that we're going to be able to do it based off of where we've left off with the most recent one.
Yes. Will 7G be shut down?
Yeah, that's the question. Like, I don't doubt that they'll be able to like that they stop it, right? But can they rewind it back to what it was before, or will things be permanently changed in certain ways?
We'll have to see.
We'll have to see. Tune in again to Kaiseki Anime Podcast 2 weeks from now. Please feel free to send us questions or comments on X, formerly Twitter, with hashtag Kaiseki Anime Podcast, or on our individual accounts at Drago_Kun and at MarinaBNB.
Listen to and review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so we can continue to grow and improve. Thanks for listening. See you next time.